Will the T Ocellus take over Boy Kavalier's body? This cosmic squid with one eye has undoubtedly stolen the xenomorph's spotlight in its own show. The critter's plan to escape from Neverland Island may require the assistance of a specific person, the owner of the island. If the eyeball were to take control of Boy Kavalier's body, it would turn him into a worldwide threat. Maybe not just a world threat, but a galactic threat. What is the purpose of this dangerous galactic creature? And how will Weyland-Yutani deal with them? I'm a Gloomy Geek, and today I'll be recapping this week's Dark Alien Earth theories with a little bonus. But before I begin this week's obligatory compilation, I want to invite you to participate in a new exclusive giveaway of one of the first official Alien Earth merch, the iconic Goat Funko Pop. For your chance to win this adorable nightmare, all you have to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments who your favorite alien character is and why. The winner will be announced on October 9th. Now back to the video. Number 5. Will T Ocellus take control of Boy Kavalier? So the real threat of the T Ocellus isn't its combat prowess or its ferocity, even though this small creature did make the xenomorph quiver in fear a bit. No, its great strength is stealing the willpower of its hosts. In episode 5, the eye took over the body of the crew member Schmel. We all knew it when we saw the guy just standing there, menacingly, with his back towards us. When he finally turned around, we saw that he indeed got a bad case of proptosis in his left eye. Now, what could happen if the T Ocellus had the chance to possess a human for days, not moments? Could the eye seamlessly integrate into its host? Could the creature adapt and even imitate the human's mannerisms, and maybe even speak our language? Can it live inside a human for a long time without anyone suspecting a thing? The T Ocellus invades and takes over any biological entity and steals its will. The creature possesses a level of intelligence equal to or even greater that of humans, and this makes Boy Kavalier the perfect host for the creature. Boy Kavalier is one of the few humans who is in close proximity to the eyeball, and that stare down the eyeball had with Boy Kavalier should have made the boy very worried. It was like the goat was sizing him, already analyzing how it was going to get its tentacles on Boy Kavalier. If the creature gets its tentacles on Boy Kavalier, it will have control over one of the most powerful and intelligent humans on the planet, the trillionaire boy with fleets of ships under his control. And there is the eyeball's ticket home, but it won't leave Earth, not until it unleashes war on Weyland-Yutani. It would be the end of humanity as we know it in Alien. Number 4. Is T Ocellus the xenomorph's oldest natural predator? Going back to the Maginote's biological description of the creature, specifically this section which reads, and I quote, "The tentacles carry extraordinary strength and are built to climb into and dislodge the eyes of the other living organisms. Once replaced in the eye socket, T Ocellus takes over the ocular pathways to the brain, overriding the neurotransmissions throughout the body. Though T Ocellus has shown remarkable problem-solving skills at a near-human measure." End quote. We're dealing with an interplanetary parasite capable of stealing other creatures' bodies by removing one of their eyes and inserting itself into the socket, allowing it to blend in or hide in plain sight and approach other potential hosts without arousing suspicion. Like that isn't disturbing enough. For some reason, this question popped into my head. How does it reproduce? Being a parasite that replaces its host's real eye and camouflages as the eye, everything points to it exploiting the host's resources to reproduce, similar to the facehuggers, only not as discreet. The facehugger attaches to the victim's face or head and impregnates them with the xenomorph embryo, thus continuing the miracle of life of the xenos. One big difference between the two parasites is that the facehugger eventually dies and falls off the victim. The T Ocellus lives and stays attached to its host until it chooses to move to another unsuspecting victim. This theoretically would allow it to protect and develop its offspring without immediate detection while continuing to use its host's body. The grotesque process of the creature replacing the eye of its victim could have a creepy philosophical subtext. When this parasite replaces the victim's vision, it distorts their reality while simultaneously taking control of their will. It's a parasite that makes its host see what it wants and think what it wants. So what would happen if the T Ocellus took control of a xenomorph? Xenos don't have eye sockets, nor eyes for that matter. The T Ocellus attacked the xenomorph, possibly trying to turn it into its new host, which we've already theorized would happen. You're welcome. This scene opens up the possibility that we will see this takoyaki from space facing off against even larger and more lethal aliens. Now, what is this thing's purpose? Its natural instinct or goal? What if the T Ocellus wasn't trying to possess the xenomorph, but was instead defending the humans? What if this misunderstood parasite is the unexpected hero of the show? There are a few times during episode 5 that the eyeball was trying to get the attention of Chibuzo while she was busy, as if it were trying to warn her about the dangerous blood-sucking parasite.
Take a picture. It'll last longer.
But why would the creature warn Chibuzo that the bloodsucker escaped? Later in the episode, the T Ocellus breaks free and ends up possessing Shamel, the engineer, by the end of the episode. Yet when Zoya, the ship's executive officer, stumbles across the T Ocellus while she is running from the xenomorph, it smiles at her. Creepy as the smile looks, perhaps it wasn't meant to be threatening. Quite the opposite. Maybe the creature was giving Zoya a sign that it wasn't going to harm her. Remember, the creature is described as being nearly as intelligent as humans.
This creature is highly intelligent.
The T Ocellus didn't attack Zoya. What it did was momentarily neutralize her to get her out of the way. Shortly after, when Morrow appears, the T Ocellus changes its target, calling out the xenomorph. For a moment it seemed that Squidward was alerting the Xeno to come and kill the humans, but then it attacked the xenomorph. It lured the xenomorph into a trap. Now, was it because of instinct? Natural predators fighting each other? Or was the T Ocellus trying to stop the xenomorph and defend the humans? The latter does sound a bit contradictory, considering that the creature killed Schmel and took over his body. Was the xenomorph so dangerous that the T Ocellus had to stop it? Or was their fight inevitable due to a rivalry that goes back centuries? If the T Ocellus is as intelligent as humans, then it must come from a civilization as advanced as ours. The little eyeball of nightmares may have already faced the great filter of this universe, the xenomorphs, before. We still can't categorize the T Ocellus as an evil monster. It has already proven to be intelligent and to have enmity toward the xenomorphs. Crazy as it might sound, I think the creature could become an ally to the humans in the fight against the Xenos. The Xenomorphs' list of enemies is quite diverse. They have fought humans, predators, the engineers, and heck, even superheroes if you read the comics. This new species of space calamari could be just another name on that list of enemies seeking to wipe out the Xenomorphs, and they could join forces with the humans. As the old saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Now the big question is, why were these 5 species gathered on the ship? As we've said in nearly every video, none of this feels like a coincidence. Everything points to the creatures being part of a galactic war that could also involve the predators and the engineers. And now humanity may be caught in the middle of it. So what do you think? Is the T Ocellus an ally against the Xenomorphs? Or is it just another dangerous creature killing to survive? Number 3. Morrow's evil plan. To understand why Weyland Yutani would use a world-ending type of weapon, it is important to comprehend the threat level that a xenomorph infestation poses to the world. If one queen were to establish a hive, the expansion process would be rapid. A single queen can lay hundreds of eggs in a short time. Each egg has one facehugger ready to implant an embryo into a nearby host. Within hours, those embryos transform into chestbursters, which in turn reach maturity in just a matter of hours. This means that in less than a week, there is an army of Xenos roaming around looking for more hosts. Now imagine an entire city turned into an incubation ground. First, small isolated sectors will fall, then residential areas, then cities, and soon military defenses will be overwhelmed. In a matter of weeks, the entire planet would be in danger of all-out infestation. What makes the aliens dangerous is their fast and aggressive and invasive reproductive cycle. No other known species in this universe can replicate with such brutal efficiency. Therefore, once a xenomorph is released on the planet, the threat level is at max. There is no debating. Action must be taken immediately, or the world is lost. Xenomorphs are not indestructible, but for every one that is killed, dozens more are born. It's because of the level of danger that these creatures pose that humans and other advanced alien species have used weapons of mass destruction against them. In Aliens, a massive explosion destroyed the alien hive. In Alien vs. Predator Requiem, the government dropped a nuclear bomb on the town that was being overrun by Xenos. In the books Aliens Earth Hive and Aliens The Female War, nuclear bombs were used to destroy the xenomorphs on Earth. In the comics that we've mentioned in other videos, such as Aliens Genocide, the xenomorph's Red Queen was destroyed with nuclear warheads. So when it comes to stopping a xenomorph horde for all sentient species, the contingency plan is the same. A big explosion is the only way to stop the invasion. Sadly, it's sometimes better to sacrifice a city than it is to risk the entire world. Now you understand that the moment the Maginot crash landed on Prodigy City, the city became a target of a nuclear attack.
You have something that belongs to me.
To be fair, it fell from the sky and broke one of my buildings.
Boy Kavalier, the boy genius and trillionaire, proved that one person with good ideas can bring a megacorporation that has bullied the world since its inception to its knees. But Weyland-Yutani is no pushover, and they are not happy that the young trillionaire has stolen their property. It's only a matter of time before Prodigy pays a hefty price for taking what isn't theirs.
I told her I'd bring the specimens home, and I will. And then I'll kill the one called Kavalier.
So will Morrow destroy Prodigy City? Morrow will be Weyland-Yutani's extension in the fight against Prodigy, their hidden weapon tasked with doing the corporation's dirty work that they don't want the world to know about. Morrow lost his humanity a long time ago. He's more machine than man, without hopes or dreams, without ambitions or goals of his own. He is a drone for the company. Everything that once made him human is gone. The man was replaced with an obedient mechanical attack dog. That's what makes him the perfect soldier for the task. He won't stop. He won't negotiate. He will show no remorse.
Remember before when we talked and you said all that stuff about how you'd do anything you had to protect your parents? This is that.
Now, the biggest sign that Prodigy is facing imminent nuclear annihilation, it's that it and its founder, Boy Kavalier, are absent from the entire Alien franchise. A xenomorph infestation, followed by a nuclear explosion, could be the cleanest way to wipe Prodigy from the history books, like it never existed.
I'm glad you came in.
But is Weyland-Yutani willing to destroy an entire city filled with innocent people just to cover up their tracks? Going back to Alien vs. Predator 2, the nuclear attack was covered up as an accident at the nuclear power plant. Perhaps this accident happens again in Alien Earth, a tragic accident that destroys Prodigy City. An official but fabricated report will be accepted globally because Weyland-Yutani will say it's real. Whatever remains of Prodigy amidst the ash and radiation will be handed over to Weyland-Yutani. To the victor goes the spoils. Prodigy City, Neverland Island, and the Lost Boys would be erased along with all the collateral damage. So yes, Weyland-Yutani is willing and able to sacrifice lives and entire cities to maintain its monopoly on alien biotechnology. Once the meddling trillionaire kid is out of the way permanently, Weyland-Yutani will send a new group of astronauts to find new alien samples. Number 2. Was the xenomorph afraid of the eyeball? The xenomorphs are labeled as the perfect weapons, designed to exterminate civilizations. So for one to show any fear or reservation when facing an enemy, that goes against its nature. From the time they are inside the egg until they become an adult xeno, these monsters of the galaxy are designed to wipe out everything in their path. However, not even the perfect cosmic weapon can escape fear. In the classic Alien films, it was revealed that the xenomorphs fear the element of fire. Although these creatures are quite intelligent, their main goal is to reproduce, finding and capturing hosts for the eggs, and the eggs are very susceptible to fire. All intelligent creatures are born with what is called instinctive fears. The fear of the dark, of insects, or of heights are some of the phobias that we humans inherited from our ancestors. Similarly, the xenomorphs have instinctively inherited a fear of fire because fire was used to destroy them. But this isn't the only fear that they have displayed. In the comic book Alien Genocide, the Red Queen, leader of the xenomorphs, controlled numerous drones. But when the Marines destroyed the Red Queen with a big bomb, the swarm's reaction was not to fight, but to flee. In nature, eusocial insects such as bees, ants, or termites depend on their queen not only for reproduction, but as a nexus that connects all the drones. The queen releases pheromones that keep the colony organized. When those signals disappear, the workers enter a state of disorientation, a lack of order that can translate into chaos or dispersal. This is what happened to the xenomorph drones in the comic after their queen was exterminated. Everything implies that their apparent fear is not emotional in the human sense, but an instinctive response to the disruption of their biological control network. The queen isn't just the one who lays eggs. She is the nucleus that emits the chemical or bioelectric frequencies that hold the swarm together. Upon losing her, the xenomorphs experience something equivalent to a collapse of the central nervous system, confusion, loss of coordination, and what we interpret as fear. Similarly, fire functions as another primordial enemy. It's not that the xenomorph interprets fear like we humans do, but rather that their biology has encoded the element as a lethal threat through generations of exposure. Under this logic, we can understand why the xenomorph was a bit shaken at the sight of the eyeball. Just as a human might instinctively scream at the sight of a bug without understanding that their DNA holds the memory of an ancestor who was afraid of a similar creature, the xenomorphs fear the T Ocellus because they faced them before. This isn't a new fear, it's an inherited reaction. In my previous video, we theorized that the T Ocellus is the xenomorph's oldest natural predator, or an enemy species that has been at war with the xenos for a very long time. But are the xenomorphs afraid of T Ocellus? Is that what we saw? Fear? In the same way that Wendy managed to tap into the xenomorph's communication frequency, the eyeball seems to do the same. It may be interfering with the same communication frequencies the aliens use among each other, but instead of giving them orders or instructions, what it instills is fear. It's manipulating those biological signals meant to connect the colony. Such an ability yields a disturbing result. If the eyeball is capable of speaking the same language as the xenomorphs, then it can intimidate them, disorient them, or even turn them against themselves. Now then, are the eyeballs and the Xenos from the same planet? Could we see Xenomorph Prime in alien Earth? If you don't know what Xenomorph Prime is, it is one of the biggest mysteries in Alien, the apparent home planet of the Xenos. However, the origin of the aliens is still inconsistent. One story says that it was David who created them. Others say it was the Predators. But in certain comics, Xenomorph Prime is mentioned as their planet of origin. None of the films nor Alien Earth has mentioned the Xenos' home planet, but the Maginot had to have gotten the eggs from somewhere. Did they get them from Xenomorph Prime? Not only that, but the eggs weren't the only creatures the Maginot was bringing back to Earth. It was transporting 4 other species, including the eyeball, and they all could have been from the same planet as the Xenos. A planet where many species have evolved with the Xenomorphs, forming an ecosystem so hostile that each creature developed natural defense mechanisms to survive. That would explain how the eyeball can replicate the Xenos' language. The Xenomorph's origin is still a mystery, but the eyeball could finally be the key to discovering where the alien actually comes from. And number 1, T Ocellus will possess a predator. Although we haven't yet seen the predators in the new Disney Alien canon, we know that Weyland-Yutani is still part of the Predator universe, thanks to the Predator Badlands trailer. So it might not be too long before we see the Yautja face off the Xenos again in a new and hopefully good Alien vs. Predator movie. Amidst the battle between megacorporations and alien creatures, a new opponent has arrived, the one-eyed Ursula from space, who is an unprecedented danger to the universe. One of the most intriguing questions left by this encounter between the T Ocellus and the Xenomorph was how the eyeball was able to call in the same frequency or language of the Xenomorph. It wasn't a simple roar or instinctive sound, but rather a call, a communication, something that, for the moment, only an advanced synthetic hybrid can duplicate. But what makes the T Ocellus special is that it didn't have to learn the frequency. It spoke it instinctively, as if it already knew the language. The call was direct. It was a challenge, like if someone calls your name and challenges you to a fight. Does this reveal that T Ocellus and the Xenomorphs share a common origin? Maybe the 8-legged freak can simply intercept and dominate the Xenomorph's communication frequencies. In either case, the message is clear. This is not a random encounter. These are enemy species who have fought before. But how was the T Ocellus able to speak the Xenomorph language? It's been mentioned on several occasions that this creature is as intelligent as humans, and the creature does seem to have a level of self-awareness and possibly has an agenda or vendetta. If the eyeball is as intelligent as us, it could come from a civilization of a close or equal level as ours, maybe even superior to ours. If so, this civilization would pose a threat to the predators. The predators are an ancient alien race of hunters that have traveled to Earth for a millennia as part of their hunting rituals. They build arenas or pyramids to test their skills against the galaxy's ultimate weapon, the Xenomorphs. The Earth became a veritable training ground for the Yautja civilization. The fight between predators and Xenomorphs is basically like watching a human squash a giant cockroach. Yes, the Xenomorphs are terrifying. Even in small numbers, the aliens can get lucky kills on the Yautja warrior or hunter, but for the most part, they haven't posed much of a threat to the predators or their home planet. But another species may have a better chance of confronting the predators. What if the Yautja were to be at war with a T Ocellus species? The danger level is obviously high for the predators because they have eyes, 2 of them in fact, thus making it easy for the eyeballs to take over their bodies. Imagine an army of those things. Zombified predators roaming the galaxy. If you didn't know, the T Ocellus can amplify the strength and agility of its host. Predators are stronger than humans and Xenos by nature, so a legion of possessed Yautja that are stronger, faster, and feel no pain would be a nightmare come to life. We don't know the exact age of the eyeball that was captured by the Maginot, but it is incredibly intelligent and easily adjusts and adapts to any situation. As I've mentioned in my previous video, the T Ocellus seemed to have wanted to exterminate the xenomorphs. It had a chance to kill the crew member, Zoya, after it took control of Schmel, but instead, it called for the Xeno and attacked it, and the Xeno reacted as if it were afraid, like it recognized its natural predator. Back on planet Earth, on Prodigy Island, we can't rule out that the eyeball is looking for a way to return to its homeworld. In addition to the human-built ships on the planet, we know that there are predator ships buried on Earth, which would be bad news if the eyeball were to find one. Now, if the eyeballs are the greatest threat in the universe, were the xenomorphs a weapon created by the Yautja to fight the T Ocellus? If you think about it, the xenomorphs would be the perfect weapon against the eyeballs, because they have a natural advantage against them. Xenos have no eyes. They have no eye sockets. And if an eyeball attempts to dig its tentacles into the Xeno's head, their acid blood would melt the wicked little cuttlefish. If the predator were to be at war with the T Ocellus, unleashing the xenomorphs would have been the most effective strategy. Now, is there a chance that a predator could make an appearance in Alien Earth? Maybe. Predator Badlands will release in theaters after Alien Earth's first season ends, so something could happen in the season finale that leads into the Predator movie. Or the movie could have an ending that leads into the second season of Alien Earth, which has already been confirmed that it's happening. However, a battle between T Ocellus and the Yautja warriors is so big, it deserves its own movie. Unlike the aliens, whose story seems to always revolve around others trying to use them, T Ocellus' story could be much more complex, stemming from an ancient rivalry between them, the Xenos, and the Predators. So what do you think? Who would win in a fight? A predator or an eyeball? Will we ever see a zombie predator? I'm a Gloomy Geek, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Mr. President, this is a photograph of the alien from the movie Alien. This is what you could end up looking like if you eat some of the raw, frozen shrimp being sent to the United States by other countries.